Hi, it's Travis Anderson here, and right now we're going to talk about the three most important things you should consider when buying your next house. Hi, it's Travis Anderson here. We're going to talk about the three most important things you should consider on your next home purchase. And you know our content is free, the video is free. If you want a buyer information booklet, seller information booklet, it's all free. Just reach out to us and let us know. We're happy to help. We just hope that you might pass this information on to a friend or a family member that might need our services. You've heard this before, location, location, location. It's so important to find the right location. Well, when people talk about location, they're talking about the importance of a specific location. For example, there might be parts of St. Paul that are, better off than would be other parts of St. Paul as far as values go, or putting in a restaurant or whatever, right? You might want a gas station on the corner of a busy street. So they're talking about location in that manner. When I'm talking about location, understand that it doesn't matter what your location is. To me, it just matters that you have narrowed down your location. In other words, when my wife and I were looking for our last house, she had found a beautiful home in just south of Lakeville, and we weren't moving to south of Lakeville. And so it's a beautiful neighborhood. I love the neighborhood. I would even consider living in that neighborhood. There's nothing wrong with it. However, we weren't moving there. We wanted to stay in kind of the southeastern side of the cities, not the southwestern side of the cities, because our kids go to school there. Well, we're not going to move our kids into a different school district. That's something for another day. And yet understand, we can't change the location. That's the point I'm trying to make, right? I might find the perfect home in the perfect location for someone else. But because I can't pick that location up and bring it to where I actually want to live, it's the most important one. It's the most important one. Most people are trying to be within a proximity of work, a proximity of school, something like that, but make sure that you have the locations narrowed down. In the event that all of the Twin Cities or all of Houston or Dallas is your location, that's fine too. And understand you can't change it. I actually joked with my wife. I said, might as well move to Florida. And it was only a 15-minute drive down the road, right? But the point is, it's not a location that we were looking to purchase. Number two, can't change it just like location, is the floor plan. Now, some of your purchase is going to be dictated by the price you can afford. So for example, you might only have 3 or 4 floor plan options in a lower price range, whereas if you were gonna buy $1 million property, you've got a myriad of choices for floor plans. However, there are some very traditional floor plans. You have a single-story rambler, also called a ranch or a one-story. You've got a 1.5-story home where it kind of has that half of an upper level where there's almost a bedroom up there. You can certainly call it a bedroom. Sometimes there's a bathroom. You've got a traditional 2-story. You've got split entries, multi-level split entries. So maybe you've got a kitchen and dining room on the main level, bedrooms are upstairs, etc. So there's multiple different floor plans. The point is, you're gonna want to look at a myriad of floor plans before you rule anyone out. And then I want you to rule them out. So we have lots of clients that absolutely will not buy a split entry house, and then I'll show them a split entry home and they'll buy one. It's because we don't actually understand what we're walking into until we walk into it, right? The split entry that you grew up with, maybe grandma's home in the middle of the suburbs, compared to a new split entry that has vaulted ceilings and sweeping floors in the entryway, it's very, very different. So what you want to do, walk into a good number of homes, walk into a few different floor plans, check out townhomes compared to single family homes, and then start to rule them out afterwards. You can't change the floor plan. You can't change that. You can't change the location. By far the two most important things that I think people often will overlook inadvertently. We'll overlook these things because a home's not coming up in our price range, or maybe it's not coming up fast enough because we need to move in a certain time, or maybe the ones that we have seen in our price range just don't meet the other criteria that we're looking for. I would rather you buy a home in the right location with the right floor plan that didn't meet any of your other needs, right? I mean, literally, it's got 2 bedrooms instead of 3. It has 2 bathrooms instead of 3. It's only a 2-car garage instead of 3. Whatever all of your other needs are, the floor plan can't be changed. So if you can find a home that you can change some of those other things, like could you add a garage down the road? Could you put a fence in down the road? Could you put a deck on? Could you put a Four Seasons porch on? Could you add a fireplace? Are there some of those things that we think are must-haves, and they're really probably not if you can get the right floor plan in the right neighborhood? Can you then look around and how can you make that home your own from that point forward? Now, granted, I'm not encouraging anybody to buy a home and spend $50,000 adding a garage, putting in a fireplace, a fence, a deck, etc., right? What I'm saying is the two most important things are location and floor plan. The third thing, of course, is enjoyment. You know, when we're looking at homes for sale, we're generally making the purchasing decision based on how we feel about the home when we're there. Very normal. That's exactly how we're going to make our decisions in most buying decisions. It's how we feel when we get in there. With that being said, I highly encourage you to consider the actual enjoyment of the property. So for example, if you love to have people over and you're always having friends and family over, you might want to have a second family room. You might want to have a living room and a family room, right? Maybe a rambler where the separation of space is absolute. In other words, it's not open to the basement. The separation of space is absolute. That might not work for somebody who wants to entertain, at least at a high level. Now, with that being said, could it work for entertainment if you actually wanted the separation of space where you have people downstairs maybe watching the football game, people upstairs doing something else, right? Watching a hockey game or crafting or whatever. So the separation of space might actually work really well in a rambler for something like that. I really want you to consider the enjoyment of the property. Those are the three most important things. Everything else, your grandmother, your great-grandfather, even probably your mom and dad, lived in a home that wasn't perfect. And the wealthiest people in the world live in their homes for a very long time. Like 20 years, 30 years, 50 years, something like that. So if you can figure out the right location, and if you can figure out the right floor plan, and if those two things together create the ability for you to enjoy that property for a very long time, it's going to make for the perfect purchase. Hey, listen, this is Travis Anderson here, and you know all of our content is free. Thank you for sharing it with your friends and family. Thank you for being here, and wish you the best of luck in your home search.